Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. In fact, this is our 700th interview. We've got a very special guest coming up as guest number 700. But first, as always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, even after 700 episodes, I still want to tell you these companies are companies that I used as an athletic director. They're all great companies. That's why they're sponsors. And I highly recommend that you check them out. So take the next 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, yeah, you're really going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Gipper for their support. Go to Gipper.com. Let their team help turn you into a social media marketing genius. Whether you're looking for social media posts to promote your program or create an entire newsletter to showcase the great things your department's doing, the team at Gipper is going to have you up and running in no time. You can access thousands of professionally designed templates that are going to match your colors, your logos, your mascot. Go to Gipper.com to get started. We also want to say thanks to our friends at Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an AD, I made sure our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, our student athletes, even our parents just love the tools on the Huddle platform. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to their website and you can schedule a live web demo to see all their products in action. Probably the best purchase I ever made as an AD was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com to get started. We'd like to thank Hometown. Hometown is changing the game for schools with their solutions that include things like, well, of course, digital ticketing, but how about athletic website construction, fee-free fundraising, and a whole lot more. Whether you're an AD, a principal, even a head coach, Hometown is going to show you how to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. That's hometown.com. We also want to thank Home Campus. Whether it's scheduling, rosters, or results, you're going to use Home Campus every single day. Their athletic eligibility and clearance platform alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast. Find out all the great things they can do for you. It's homecampus.com. We want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to show off your school record boards for all the teams, for all the events, or your school's Hall of Fame, go to their website and take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. You put one of their units in your gym lobby or your main school hallway, it's going to be like a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant athletic director, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program. And here's the cool thing. While you're completing your degree, you also complete 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We also want to thank Snap Mobile, particularly Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, I'm telling you, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. We used it at our school and had great success, and so will you. Check out all their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's Snap Raise. And we want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. At my school, we use surveys for everything, for student athletes, for coaches, even parents. And the information that came back, almost always over the top positive, and having that data extremely valuable. We still got connected with our squeaky wheel parents, but we got to hear their concerns, typically address them before they turned into something big. But having all that data, if you ever have to go in and meet with your principal or meet with your school board or even a frustrated parent, having that positive data is huge. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast. Find out all the great things they can do for you. athleticsurveys.com. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to episode number 700, our 700th interview on the Educational AD podcast. We are going all the way back to where it started, and we have our very first guest back with us as number 700. Long-time listeners will certainly recognize the name Rocky Gillis. Rocky, as I mentioned, was our first guest on the podcast. Tremendous background here in Florida as a coach, as an athletic director, as a president of our state association, the FIAAA, and he's still on the job. I'm going to let him share what he's doing now. But Rocky Gillis, welcome back to the Educational AD podcast.
Thank you for having me, Jake. It's a pleasure to be back on.
Well, as I mentioned, you're still on the job. It's a busy time for ADs. We appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to be with us. But let's go and start from the beginning. We always like to let our listeners, and I'm sure we have some new listeners, we like to let them get to know our guests. So give us your quick bio. As I like to say, tell us your life story in 2 minutes. Just take us up through maybe your own college days, and then we'll take a break. But where were you born? Where'd you go to school? What are some of your memories of growing up? What's the Rocky Gillis origin story?
So, I mean, I grew up and was raised here in Pompano Beach, Florida, down in South Florida. Um, uh, Kind of got its popularity from being one of the farming towns down south. So I started playing sports, participating in athletics at a very early age, probably at the age of 8 or 9, with football, baseball, basketball here in Pompano Beach, product of the Broward County Public School System. Attended Sanders Park Elementary School, Pompano Beach Elementary School, Pompano Beach Middle, and eventually go at Pompano Beach High School. Again, played football, basketball, ran track, played some baseball during that time early on, prior to last year was probably ninth grade in high school. But from there, I went on to get a football scholarship at Iowa State University, go Cyclones. Struggling the last 2 weeks, but hey, we'll get it turned around. And upon returning home after graduating, I mean, I was commissioned as a second lieutenant as Army officer in the United States Army while I was in college at Iowa State after going to ROTC. But came home, did a little reserve time, worked as a sales rep, but always had an interest in coaching and athletics. So kind of began a coaching career with youth athletes, part of the city program with both t-ball, basketball, and football. Go ahead.
No, I want to get into your career in our next segment. I want to go all the way back to when you were growing up in Pompano Beach. Um, you mentioned, football. I'm going to guess that, Pop Warner or, Police Athletic League or something was organized down there. What are some of your memories of those early days of competitive sports?
Well, I can tell you my very first year playing, I played for the City League, and the classification of age ranged from probably 8 to like 12, all under the 95 pound or 105 pound team. And my early memories of that was that first year I probably weighed 65 pounds with the uniform on. Spent most of that time, most of that year playing with obviously the older kids who were much bigger, faster, stronger, but played a little bit of running back and also was played a little bit of nose guard whenever the coach felt like they could get me in the game. And unfortunately, I was so small. There were a few times that I was able actually to either leapfrog the center or try to run through his legs and grab the quarterback. So those are some of my fondest memories of my beginning years. Me and another one of my classmates, we spent quite a bit of time on the sidelines chewing bubble gum and reading Bazooka comic strips that were in them.
Oh boy, I love that. Boy, I'm just having flashbacks of my own. That technique, that nose guard technique, maybe the NFL needs to start coaching that to stop the tush push.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to do it. Those guys are much bigger, much faster, much stronger. So,
Um, as you were progressing through sports, what are your memories of your own parents? Were they there cheering? Were they, and this is were they pushing you? What are your memories of, mom and dad out there?
so my parents were totally involved, very supportive. My dad even started coaching, and he coached actually my brother's team. I didn't get to have the pleasure of actually playing for my dad, but my brother did, who's 2 years older. He coached that team, but my parents were always there. I mean, they were the Uber lifts of yesterday, you know. So not only for me, but many of my friends as we played on the same teams. But I can't remember a time when my parents weren't there. I think the only time that they really didn't get a chance to attend maybe every game was during my college years.
Mhm. Um, you played Division I football, scholarship athlete. Obviously, there was a journey, a progression from that 65-pound, Pop Warner kid. When did you first feel, hey, I can do this, not in a cocky way, but in a confident way that, hey, I belong here.
I think the fact that growing up in my neighborhood, we were very competitive on street ball and things that I did. I think seeing the success just within the neighborhoods, and then as I began to play on teams, actually, I'm telling you, I was very tiny. So, I mean, ninth grade, I was only 5 feet tall and weighed 104 pounds. So I was not always the first guy who was selected to do a lot of things early on, but I felt that I always had to kind of prove myself and I think some of those efforts during that time actually went well for me as I progressed through athletics.
All right, let's go and fast forward to Iowa State. Who's the coach back then, and what are some of your let's say fond memories of those college playing days?
So initially, when I was recruited and went to Iowa State, Earl Bruce was our head coach.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, we had a phenomenal staff. I had Wayne Stanley, who was a former quarterback at Iowa State, and he was now the quarterback coach for Iowa State's team. He was the one that actually recruited me, and he's actually from South Florida, out of Belgrade. So, there was quite a few South Florida guys. There were some guys from Mulberry in Florida and Lakeland who were on the team. So it just felt like there were a lot of friendly faces, I guess, and guys that would could provide that support. Unfortunately, that my freshman year, the entire coaching staff, with the exception of one coach, all left in January and went to Ohio State. So we there was quite a bit of transition as the new coaching staff came in, and who was the head coach next was Donnie Duncan.
Mhm. I think every kid, whether they're a kid in, sixth grade or a kid in college, at one point they might be thinking, hey, I might be able to make it to the next level, that NFL. Was that ever something that you thought about, or you just knew, hey, I'm having a great time playing college football and then I'm going to move on?
I think maybe deep down inside as a young kid, I mean, obviously playing in the streets, we always imitated and the same moves and everything that an NFL player would have had and all that. I don't know if that was really one of my major goals. I think my family, my mom definitely wanted us to make sure we had an education. So for me, getting an education, getting a college degree was probably more important than say dreaming about a career in the NFL.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so yes.
Well, I say frequently that injuries, along with a lack of talent, kept me out of the NFL. So it's I know where you're coming from. Um, let's go and take a quick break. Our guest again, number 700, is also guest number one, Rocky Gillis. He's a longtime athletic director here in the state of Florida. We're going to hear more about his career journey when we come back. Let's take that break for the Educational AD podcast. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Gipper for their support of the podcast. Go to Gipper.com and let their team help you become a social media marketing guru. Maybe it's just a small social media post to celebrate a victory or one of your athletes, and it could also be an entire newsletter to showcase all the great things that your department is doing. Either way, the team at Gipper will have you up and running in no time. It's so easy, even I can do it. Create and share and schedule social media content using your brands, your colors, your logos. Again, check out Gipper.com. You're going to be very glad you did. We also want to say thanks to our friends at Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, all of our coaches, they just loved the platform. Our student athletes loved the videos. Our parents loved the streaming, but there's a lot more. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Once again, our guest is Rocky Gillis. He's a certified athletic administrator, longtime director of athletics here in the state of Florida. Rocky, you'd mentioned that you'd been involved with ROTC. Again, thank you for your service, and that you did some reserve time when you came back to Florida. But take our listeners on your coaching and leadership journey. How did that all begin for you?
So upon returning home, obviously, like I said, I was came back and started trying to find work as a newly college graduate. Um, Started coaching youth league, both t-ball and football, with some friends of mine who were already here and home and coaching, which actually led me to the neighboring high school that was right next door to where our youth league program was. So I actually began coaching both at Blanche Ely High School and the youth league at the same time. Um, Kind of challenging for several years, because I kind of quickly became the head coach of one of the youth league teams, and while coaching there and working as a sales rep for Nabisco Brands at the time. So quickly, very quickly, I did transition over to totally just being at the high school, both as a football coach, track coach, and as a math teacher. So that's kind of where it began. I started assisting the athletic director at Blanche Ely High School, Mr. John Johnson, during those days, both with coverages and just kind of found my niche into wanting to always know as much as I could about athletic administrators. I always said that I probably tried to know as much about the rules of the games that I coached as possible, because I was one that always was a little bit challenging early on to officials, I'm sure. Many of my friends will say that I've argued and challenged officials since we were 8 or 9 years old, but I just try to say that I just knew a lot about the rules and wanted to make sure that everybody else did and we're following them as well.
Oh boy, I'm laughing because I was very fortunate to be at actually two schools in Florida as the AD, and we won the FHSA Sportsmanship Award for the entire state. And when I posted that on social media, I would have friends from college or that knew me in my younger days saying, "Your school won the Sportsmanship Award? Do you remember that time?" So I'm right there with you. Um, as you began to, I guess get a feel for that role as an assistant AD, somebody helping out, did you actively seek your own school to be the AD, or did principals start to hear about you and reach out to you?
So surprisingly, I think my career, I don't know if I actually was seeking many of the best jobs that I've ever had. I just tried to go about doing the best job I could at whatever it was. Even when I became the head football coach at Blanche Ely, I spent 4 years as an assistant coach, and the position became open to be the head football coach. And I just kind of applied because the principal there at the time, Mr. James Jones, was a tremendous mentor, and I didn't want him to think that I was afraid of opportunity. So I kind of became the head coach, which led me into knowing and or forced me into being more educated about athletics in general and the rules of not only the FHSAA but of our school district. Um, and after 6 years of being the head coach, the opportunity came open to return to the high school that I went to that had been closed for 14 years and was reopening. So as I ventured over there, then that position kind of came along with the territory. Our first year, we didn't have a football team, but I actually served kind of as the athletic director, the basketball, head basketball coach, and head track and field coach. So, and we knew that was kind of a temporary thing because we started out with just ninth and 10th. And as we were moving to 11th grade, we started football program. So that's kind of how that progressed.
Well, again, that's a great lesson, I think, for our listeners, particularly our younger listeners, about, hey, do a good job, do a great job where you're at. People are going to notice and you're going to have those opportunities. You don't always have to be looking for that next great job. It'll find you. That had to be exciting, reopening a school. What are some memories of those early years, I guess, that you can share?
I, I think the biggest thing was just our school was small. We were a total magnet high school. So we had a lot of athletes that, or student athletes that participated in athletics at our school that may have never participated at other schools. And I think the biggest challenge was starting football because we had so many kids that, and I say so many, but our varsity team probably had 35 kids on it. This, our first spring, I remember that we actually had to leave one athlete in the locker room every day that we got a new athlete just to show him how to put the uniform on. And at the end of the first week, when you tell everybody to take your things home and wash them and come back, that Monday was quite challenging to see where a few of the athletes put pads in places that you had never seen them before. So that was kind of funny, but we had a lot of excitement around our school with both male and female athletes joining teams, participating in teams. Football team actually went to the playoffs our second year with the team, and I think we may have had one senior. So those were exciting times. Our basketball teams were very good. Girls sports probably for the most part, and especially in basketball and track and field, excelled far better than the boys teams at that time. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, especially early on, school was small enough that you, as an athletic director, as a math teacher, you kind of knew every student that was in the entire school. Um, so being able to start everything new, having new uniforms, creating and trying to generate all the equipment, that was probably the toughest part, just trying to figure out all the equipment that a school would need in an opening.
Yeah. Well, and again, I've been involved in a couple of startups. Again, very exciting. When you mentioned the football players and teaching them how to put the gear on, there's been so many advances, safety advances, helmets, et cetera. But I think the single greatest advancement from a coach perspective in equipment was those integrated pants with the pads
Yes,
already sewn in,
yes.
particularly for middle school kids. Yeah, just boy, great memories. Um, Let's go and take another quick break. When we come back, I want you to share a little bit about your journey with the FIAAA and now what you're doing with the Broward Athletic Association. And then we're going to kind of take a look at a historical viewpoint from Rocky Gillis's perspective. Let's take that break, but we are going to come back. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to thank our good friends at Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see all their great products in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an athletic director was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. We use it for home games, of course, but we also use it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. Their products are tremendously versatile and their customer service just outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Find out all the great things they can do for you and your school. We also want to say thank you to Hometown. Hometown is still changing the game for schools and organizations with their suite of solutions that includes things like, well, big surprise, digital ticketing. They're still the number one digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. But how about athletic website construction, fee-free fundraising, and a whole lot more? Whether you're a principal or an athletic director, even a head coach, Hometown's going to show you how to save time, how to raise more money, and how to bring your entire community together. Go to hometown.com to get started. We also want to say thanks to our good friends at Home Campus. Home Campus is one of those platforms you're going to use every single day, whether it's scheduling, rosters, results. Their athletic eligibility and clearance platform alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast. And again, see all the great things they can do for you. That's homecampus.com. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to our second interview. We had him on as our first guest, and now we have him on as guest number 700, Rocky Gillis. Rocky's a certified athletic administrator, and as you've heard, a long-time teacher, coach, and athletic director here in Florida. Rocky, you are a CAA. We mentioned that. That doesn't happen by accident. How did you first get involved with the FIAAA and, of course, NIAAA? And let's talk a little bit about, how you also served as a president of the FIAAA.
So I must say, as transitioning over to Pompano Beach High School, being responsible for a brand new startup athletic program. Again, I was always a person who wanted to know as much as possible about whatever it was I was doing, whether it was coaching, and now it was also serving as an athletic administrator. I somehow heard about FIAAA, and actually it started out as NIAAA. I guess I must say was the first. I think I attended an NIAAA session before I even went to FIAAA.
Me too.
So there was a national conference. Met actually re-engaged with Lannis Robinson, who was a football player when I coached at Blanche Ely High School. So he was one of our players. So when I saw him there and saw his involvement with the national, and it kind of morphed into me being in wanting to be involved in the FIAAA, continuing education, trying to get those around me educated as well. So I kind of started participating there. And next thing you know, I'm headed in one of the people that's on the board of directors representing our section. So definitely wanted to be more involved and more knowledgeable. Started taking the courses, and that led me to looking at, okay, so I wanted the position of athletic director here in Broward County to actually have more prominence as well. So I wanted to pursue the national certification. So that's how it became CAA. And then because of the people that were part of the FIAAA, obviously wanting to be a part of the leadership track. I think the very first year I was actually the secretary. I was scared to death because didn't know if I'd be able to follow along with the meetings, but that transition was pretty good. And then next thing you know, like I say, make the next step in the process, and I'm the vice president, president-elect, and able to serve as president of the organization, which I think has been phenomenal ever since I've been a part of it. Provides so many opportunities for people to not only get educated, but also take leadership roles as they may want to.
Yeah. Again, appreciate you sharing that journey because I think it's important, particularly for, let's say younger ADs or newer ADs to uh, be able to hear that you just don't, at 24, you're not a CMAA, you're not the president of your
Right.
state association. You serve on, you volunteer, you get involved. Hey, do you need some help? You serve on those committees, you become a district rep. And as you mentioned, get on that leadership track. Also, I remember, you brought Florida out of COVID. We had taken a break of our state conference, and your conference was our first one back.
Yeah, it was a little bit challenging. I mean, obviously I had seen a few conferences and kind of put on, but I was trying to follow, hoping I would be able to see you put the conference on the year before. COVID hit us and we weren't able to have that. So it was a little bit challenging, but the great thing was there were so many other people that were there around to make sure that the conference still did what it was supposed to do and was reached the levels that it was supposed to. So again, that was another great experience as an athletic administrator, being able to put the conference on and rallying everybody around. So I mean, it was great experience for me, and I was able to even try to help those few other people that are part of the association and continuing to push people that are from Broward County, obviously, to want to step up and be a part of the FIAAA and to see what it means. I've had most of my, I call them my bosses. You know, they oversee our department, which is the Department of Athletics and Student Activities for Broward County. Been able to bring them to conferences so they can see what it's all about, as well as, you know, the establishment as people, as the we kind of group of county ADs have rallied around and have consistent meetings twice a year, keeping my supervisor informed of everything that's going on and having them to attend those conferences has been, and those meetings have been very important for us.
Yeah, great point too of getting, your if you're a school-based AD, getting your superintendent, getting your principal, to come to, the FIAAA conference so they can see the tremendous impact that athletic directors have. You mentioned, BCAA, Broward County Athletic Association. You have a different role now with the BCAA. Can you share with our listeners, what your job entails now?
So I am what they call the county athletic director. So Broward County Athletic Association is our local conference. It's made up of 29 public high schools. We have three private schools and two charters currently that are members of our association. And right now, I just try to help rally the troops to keep them involved in whether it's scheduling, rules and regulations that we have from an FHSA standpoint and from a local standpoint. But also, we oversee numerous special events for our conference. We have all-star events, championships, just about in every sport. And some have both, and some have one or the other. We have annual banquets that for our all-star football and cheerleading event. We have a scholar athlete event. We've added some things to our program. I mean, we have regularly seasonal coaches meetings with all the coaches and bring in officials to also talk about rule changes and points of emphasis for the upcoming year. I think one of the things over the last 3 years, especially under my new supervisor, she's been able to help us to elevate is our sportsmanship initiative. This year, it's one team, one standard. We all play at different schools, but at the end of the day, we are all one team and we all live and play by the same standards. That's not just in the schools, but also within the community. So we're trying to get that message out to, our middle schoolers as well as our fans and our parents and people that are in the community as well. So like you said, I'm nearing the end of these days. They're closer, the end is closer than the beginning, but I enjoy what I do, pushing fast and hard to make sure that the things that we've developed here in the county continue to go on.
Oh, no, that's great. I love that one school, one standard, on that theme of sportsmanship. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, I'm going to ask you about that and more, trying to kind of get an idea of where you think Florida and even nationally, where, how far we've come since maybe COVID 5 years ago and maybe where we're going to be going in the future. So let's take that break. I know that's shocking for our regular listeners, but we are going to come back. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards for all the teams, for all the different events, or show off your school's Hall of Fame, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and take a look at their interactive touch screen. That's right, touch screen video consoles. You put one of these units in your gym lobby or your main school hallway, it's going to be like a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. You're going to be glad you did. We also want to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's degree from Ohio University, but my assistant athletic director did, along with thousands of others, and it was a great experience. It's very affordable, just 20 months, totally online. And while you're completing your degree, you're also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We want to thank our good friends at Snap Mobile, particularly Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, I'm telling you, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. We used it at our school with great success, and so will you. Go to their website, check out all their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's Snap Raise. Go to snapraise.com to get started. Welcome back, everybody, to episode number 700 with our very first guest. He's now our 700th guest, Rocky Gillis, the Director of Athletics for Broward County Athletics here in Broward County, Florida. Rocky, we started this podcast in part. I was just becoming the president of the FIAAA, and I had just been on a podcast, the Hanging with the ADs, where I got to share how we did kind of a virtual conference because of COVID with our workshops. And it was just so much fun being on their podcast. I thought, hey, I could do this for our Florida athletic directors. And it just took off in a way I never would have imagined. Of course, you were our very first guest, but that was, I think still very much in the teeth of COVID, not just here in Florida, but here nationwide. Hopefully, COVID is a distant memory, but from your perspective, how has the job changed? How have we changed? Are we doing anything better? What's the difference from when you were guest number one to now guest number 700?
I tell you, so time keeps rolling. It's hard to imagine us being in that situation of COVID. I can tell you some things that did change because of COVID was obviously you mentioned the technology side. We learned how to do things a little bit more efficiently, I think, with the use of some technology. For us here in Broward, I can tell you we became cashless as far as most of our ticketing. And I mean, we didn't go total cashless right away, but it allowed us to do a lot of things that we hadn't done before. Um, I must say, there's been a little bit of positive and negative with the one thing as far as parental involvement. And I won't say it's just since COVID, but I mean, when I was a coach, the parental involvement was very much there most of the time, and it was always very supportive of the coach. Nowadays, and especially since COVID, sometimes it's a little bit more challenging of coaching decisions, I would say. But it's nothing that I mean, I would never want to. It's a better situation with parental involvement than not having it. Um, because I never begrudge a parent on wanting to make sure that they want the best for their kids. That's what they should do. And I mean, it becomes challenging sometimes for coaches and for the system, but I think without it, then sometimes some certain things won't change, and we won't find out about certain things that we need to change. So I think those have been some very positive changes that we've had with COVID. But like I said, it does come with some other challenges. Um, I mean, and since 2005, obviously across the country, we've been faced with the NIL and recruiting and transferring of students. Sometimes it gets to be a little bit out of hand. The days of coaches coaching the kids that they had and being satisfied, I really love those days where we only had maybe one or two transfers, and now, especially in the state of Florida, it's been quite challenging here because um, many of our kids have gone in non-traditional directions. Again, those are some parental choices that they make, which is up to them. But it does create some challenges for the normal, regular public schools to have to deal with to stay within regulations and to also build some team camaraderie. And I think it also affects some of the school spirit. I think that school spirit was much higher when all those athletes had to walk the hallways, and the kids that didn't participate could see them. They looked up to them. And on a Friday night for a football game or a Thursday night, whatever day, basketball game or other sports, they knew those kids. They came out to see those kids. And I think the way it is at this point right now in the state of Florida, especially here in South Florida, we have a lot of kids on our teams that the kids that attend the school, they don't know. So that is one of the biggest challenges I think we have right now. Um, Trying to get kid coaches to be good coaches, coach up the kids that you have, and stop tampering with other kids that aren't theirs, just to try to build a team full of great athletes. I think it's a little bit disheartening to me because I was always one, even like I tell you about my experience here at Pompano Beach High School when I coached there. Um, I think I was the best coach ever in my career when I had the kids that didn't have that knowledge.
Absolutely.
Um, and I really, I mean, my biggest regret was that I was not that coach when I was at Blanche Ely High School, where I had some superior athletes and some really good people who went on and played in the NFL. I think if I had been the kind of coach with them that I was at Pompano, we probably would have won a couple state championships. But that's that's just my feeling about how things have changed. Um, but it's been great. I think athletics is a tremendous part of any kid's life. It teaches you so much about life, and I think that's where coaches need to always stay focused on is what does athletics do for the future of the student athletes that they're in charge of.
A great, great statement. I think I think many coaches feel the same way. I remember, as a AD, I would share with our coaches, hey, any schmo can coach an all-star team. It takes a real coach, a teacher to develop skills. Pick your sport. That's what I'm, that's what I want you to do. I want you to coach our kids. Um, and you mentioned Florida, this. We've had the transfer portal in Florida at the high school level for years because of our state legislature, and hey, we deal with it. Let me ask you an NIL question, and I know the landscape, even in Florida, it's probably changing on a weekly basis, but um, obviously it creates another opportunity for an unscrupulous parent, booster, coach to entice a student athlete to move to a different school. Um, that was always there, whether it was NIL or not. Um, I just don't see it. And again, I have no problem with a kid making some extra money, particularly a college kid. I don't know about high school, but I'm not anti kids making money off their name, image, and likeness. I just don't think it's this the sky is falling type of occurrence that's going to be impacting, um, kids, coaches, schools at an epidemic level. Am I being naive, or what's your thoughts on the existence of NIL?
So again, in college, as a college kid that didn't have any money from a family that didn't have a lot of money, that would have been very beneficial to me. But for the high school kid, I think we're trying to teach them about life and dealing with some issues, whether it's a good coach, the bad coach, and the parent should have the ability if they're in a bad situation to move. But the NIL, I think the possibility and the risk of kids getting in such bad deals because they're not experts and neither are their coaches in the legal financial dealings, and they could easily create a situation where the family loses subsidies
Good point.
here, or they sign over the future rights or abilities for a student athlete. I mean, your value in high school may be one thing, but by the time you get to college, if you signed off on a deal that you weren't aware of that put you into a commitment for 4 years, and when you were just a sophomore, you may create a situation where now you're stuck in that deal as a college athlete, where your value is much higher than what it would have been I mean, we don't have a lot of these situations that are going to come about. I think the real danger is just the potential for
Yeah.
a kid getting into a bad situation or creating a bad situation for his family.
No, and those are excellent points. Absolutely. I want to touch on sportsmanship real quick. You mentioned, you have your own, Broward County initiative. I know a couple months ago, Texas unveiled a statewide initiative. I think they call it the Texas Way. Uh, when we listen to Craig Damon, who's going to be coming on the podcast soon, uh, talk about the statistics for player ejections and coaches ejections. Craig Damon, for if you're not in Florida, he's our executive director for the Florida High School Athletic Association, longtime coach and AD here in Florida. The numbers keep going up. The ejections are increasing, and it drives me crazy, even though I'm not in the game anymore, to hear about that. Um, I'm putting you on the spot. How effective have you seen your measures in Broward County be, let's say, since they've been initiated? And is there something else that we globally need to do to somehow, cut down and hopefully eliminate ejections?
So I can tell you this, Jake, over the last 3 years, we've seen a tremendous decrease in the amount of ejections and AT6s that we have received. We go out again, we put this information in the hands of our athletic directors. We get buy-in from them. Our football coaches, obviously, that's probably the largest group of coaches that you're ever going to have. So we also pushed it out to them this past year with one of our two football coaches meetings that we have before the season starts. This year, we invited the assistant coaches. So that information can definitely get back. Um, we've asked them to also push this information to our student athletes. We want our student athletes to actually help monitor themselves. And we have seen this in games. We've seen the examples of kids putting other kids on their team in check when they get out of hand or they step out of line and go against what we've been preaching to them, which is again one team, one standard.
Boy, that is so refreshing to hear. One team, one standard, and you've got data to back it up that it works. Guess what? I'm going to be sharing that with Craig in a very friendly way when I chat with him. Um, Rocky, I wish we could spend another hour together, but you actually have a job to do. But we're not done yet. Like
Uh-oh.
we did in our very first episode, we're going to finish with the athletic director's toolbox. You gave us our very first three tools that went in the first edition. The tools you give me today, whether they're the same ones or new ones, they're going to go into the fourth edition, which, as you are listening to us, the fourth edition is already available on Amazon. So we'll take another break, but when we come back, we're going to find out what three tools that Rocky Gillis is going to put
Oh, wow.
into this edition of the Athletic Director's Toolbox. We'll be right back. We want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys for sponsoring the AD Toolbox segment. At my school, we use surveys for everything, for student athletes, for coaches, even for parents. And the information that would come back on these surveys, almost always over the top positive. I'm talking 98% approval. We still got to hear from our squeaky wheel parents, but the surveys allowed us to hear their concerns, usually deal with them and keep them from turning into something big. But having all of that data, that 98%, is incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with a frustrated parent, or sometimes even your principal, or maybe your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. And don't forget to mention the podcast. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We have just finished our second visit with our original guest, Rocky Gillis, Certified Athletic Administrator, the District Athletic Director for Broward County Schools here in Broward County, Florida. Tremendous background in athletics. And right now, I'm going to challenge him again to send out a brand new AD on their first job. But like the very first interview, I'm only going to let him put three tools in the toolbox. So, Rocky, what three tools are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox in 2025?
So I must say, I'm going to say that I think the athletic director needs to try to stay as knowledgeable as possible. Staying competent is going to lead to the integrity that they want to push out. So I say knowledgeable is number one. I can't go without saying communication because communication is key in anything that you're going to do. As my boss would say, being clear is being kind. So you want clarity in everything you're doing. So I think communicating both with coaches, parents, athletes, other athletic directors in your area and around. I think those are key things that every athletic director needs. And I think it's very valuable as far as, and especially in gaining knowledge, because they know some things that you don't know. And it can never go without saying that documentation of things that are occurring, things that you've heard about, and all of that, that's always key in the society in which we live now.
Well, again, I'm furiously writing those down to add to the toolbox collection. Um, we should have done this earlier, so shame on me for not doing it. But if one of our listeners wants to reach out, pick your brain a little bit, find out more about your sportsmanship initiative or just anything that you do with the schools you're in charge of, what's the best way that they can get a hold of Rocky Gillis?
Probably the best way is going to be through email, which is rgillis@browardschools.com.
Well, Rocky, thanks again for coming back on the podcast. Thanks for all that you do with your schools, your kids, your athletic directors. Thanks for the great resource you've been for me in my career. And looking forward to seeing you, if not before, definitely at the national conference in Tampa.
Sounds great.
For listeners, we want to say thanks to you and remind you that the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews get uploaded to the Education Lady Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening. And just remind you, we do this just about every day. We try to share stories from the world of athletics along with some best practices. So please come back and join us again on the next episode of the Education Lady Podcast. We'll see you next time.